Well, Montreal, you did it. You won the Canadian Championship. So I guess I have no choice but to crown you the King of the North. I'm gonna be fully honest. That was a really good game. Really good two-leg match. And in the end, I think the team that deserved to win won. Yes, Toronto FC had so many missed chances. Osorio hit a post, Altidore hit a post. In the first leg, Schaffelberg was absolutely robbed. But overall, over a two-game series, Montreal just played it better. Montreal played an actual team in the first leg as opposed to TFC, who rested Altidore and Pozuelo for the first half, which was just, it was so weird all around having them rest the first half and come in the second half. Like, I get why Greg Vanney wanted to rest them, but I mean, if you're going to commit to resting them, and you're going to commit to throwing the Canadian Championship, why do it in a half step? That was very weird, and it seemed like he was very indecisive as to whether or not he actually wanted to try to win this tournament. But Montreal played an actual full squad in Montreal in the first leg. They got the 1-0 lead, and then they defended very well in the second leg. They should have had a penalty shot and probably won the game in regulation. The fact that Aro handball, that is just the most blatant handball I have ever seen in my life, and it wasn't called. That was just absolutely terrible refereeing. There was a couple missed calls, I think, too. Like, Larea had a run on the right side in the first half that he could have maybe been taken down the box, and it wasn't called. So, really, couple missed calls on both ends. But in the end, it all worked out, I think, because the team that deserved to win won. But why did it have to be penalties? Why is Toronto FC putting me into a spot where whenever I see the game go to penalty shootout, I know we've already lost? You know, statistically speaking, the shooter should score on 76% of penalty kicks. So why has Toronto FC been so bad at it for years? This isn't just a one-time thing. This is a recurring trend that has been happening going back to 2016, that Toronto FC is losing championships and losing titles due to their inability to score penalties. The 2016 MLS Cup, where Seattle didn't have a single shot that entire game until they got the penalties, and then Seattle won on penalties because TFC just couldn't convert. Then the 2018 CONCACAF Champions League final, where just a miserable showing from the penalty spot in that game. I mean, the Michael Bradley penalty is famously bad. Hell, even this season in Panama, when they had a penalty shot, Terrence Boyd had a basically picture-perfect redo of the Michael Bradley penalty from the Champions League the year before, and then now you have the Canadian Championship, you have Josie Altidore hitting the crossbar, you have Mullins shooting it basically straight at Diop, that was a bad kick, Osorio going off the post. Like, what is going on with TFC that we can only have one player at a time who can score penalties? First it was Giovinco, and then when he left, Pozuelo came in, and Pozuelo's actually really good at scoring penalties, but that doesn't help when he's the only person on this team that can score from freaking 12 yards out. It's not that hard to do. I mean, TFC just had so many good chances this game, and then things were just little things that just weren't working. And yes, they had a lot of posts, they had a lot of close misses. And then even again in the first leg, that Schaffelberg got robbed again. I still can't believe that he did not score that in the first leg. But then the Mavinga red card was almost unnecessary. I honestly do not think that he had to fully commit to a red card foul there. And even the fact that it was a red card is a little steep. It could have been just a yellow, but I mean, I'm not entirely mad about the fact that it was a red card. It definitely was a very bad foul. But I gotta give credit where credit is due. Tsubasa Endo. Oh man, 2016 he was a regular for TFC, but he was obviously not one of our better players. He was a sub most of the time coming off the bench. 2017, when we had that absolutely dynamite squad, he barely got in the lineup, was dropped completely from the team following the 2017 season. And then last year, because Toronto FC 2 was complete garbage, and Endo was not signed anywhere else, they signed him to a TFC 2 contract where he, in the end of the season there in the second half, was the only person on that team who could score goals. He was actually fantastic for TFC2, the only bright spot on that squad really in the second half of last year. And then now, with that fantastic performance in TFC2 last year, just scoring all the time, comes into MLS, gets a contract back with TFC because of that, and he has been absolutely fantastic, scored in 3 goals, 2 in his last 2 MLS games. He scored in the semifinals of the Canadian Championship. He scored in the finals of the Canadian Championship. Endo has just become a crucial part of this team. He's become a starter, which 2 years ago, if you told me that in 2 years, Tsubasa Endo would be a starter on this team, I'd be laughing at you. But he's just developed so far. He's really found his game recently and just really become a true talent in MLS for TFC. And the Montreal side of things, Lapalainen is really, really good. It's fast, him coming on at the end there, getting that rush that drew them a bigger red card, just fantastic by him. He really impressed me in the first leg too, and just all around Lapalainen, Montreal really have a quality player there. It's a shame that he's only on loan. If he was a full-time Impact player, he would be a force in MLS for years to come. Bojan, also very good. Great pickup by Montreal. Ignacio Piatti is just... he is everything that you want a designated player to be. So good. Scored that screamer in the first leg. Just probably one of the best goals of the tournament, possibly the best goal of the tournament that was. And then had a great chance that went off the crossbar in this game. He probably could have finished this whole series off right there, won the entire championship for Montreal right there. He almost did. He is synonymous with the Montreal Impact at this point. Basically, Ignacio Piatti is, and probably will be for a long time, even once he's gone, be the face of that team. Overall, this year's Canadian Championship was just probably the best one there's ever been. With the addition of the Canadian Premier League, it finally felt like a real tournament. Minus the fact that TFC got a bye to the semifinals. That was dumb, and they need to fix out the scheduling and basically the format for next season, because this year's format was really weird and I hated it. But it actually felt like a real tournament, and Montreal, again, I have to give them the credit, were probably the best team throughout it. They handily beat York 9, put up 2 very solid performances against Calgary. Calgary was very good. They very easily could have been in the final of this tournament, but Montreal pretty solidly subdued them. And then they were 100% the better team against TFC. I'm not even going to question that. They deserved to win this Canadian Championship. Hell, I called in my predictions video that they were going to win the Canadian Championship, and I'm actually a little bit happy that I was right about that. But so frustrating that TFC can't make it 4 in a row. That would have been just, that would have been fantastic. Just the ring of 4 in a row has to it is insane. But the Montreal Impact finally getting back to the Champions League. It's been a long, long time for Impact fans to see that team play in the Champions League. And I just have to say, Impact fans, enjoy that. Hopefully you can represent Canada well in that tournament. Canadian teams have shown twice in the past that they can go all the way to the finals. You guys did it, I think, in 2012. We did it last year. It is an incredibly fun run if you can get going in there. Just represent Canada well in the Champions League next year. Don't lose to some team from Panama in the first round is all I'm trying to say. God damn, this team frustrates me. But yeah, congratulations to Montreal Impact. That was a fantastic Canadian Championship campaign for you guys. TFC, learn how to take penalty shots. That does it for this video. If you like this video, hit like. If you want to see more of my stuff, hit subscribe. Follow me on Twitter. Link is down below in the description. I post just random thoughts that pop into my head and game updates. They're actually quite interesting. Go check it out. And I will see you next time.